What's up, everyone? This is NinjaDeathStrike bringing you another Pokemon Black and White Wi-Fi battle. My opponent this time is Aerobeam, who I've faced before. We both have pretty standard teams. I'm going to lead off with Crack as Whack, my Whimsicott, and he's going to lead with his Thunderous. So I'm not sure if it runs Taunt in the off chance that it doesn't, and it's a 3 attacker. I'm going to try to go for the Stun Spore, but he does have Taunt, so since we both have Mischievous Heart and he's faster than me, he's able to taunt me. But it's not a big deal because I have Nike, who's going to be able to deal with this Thunderous quite handily. He can't really hurt me. Even if he gets a nasty plot up, he's going to be doing less than half since he can't hit me with his stab. So he switches out here. I go for Ice Beam, not wanting to overpredict just in case he stayed in. I'd really like to have that Thunderous dealt with, but Conkeldurr comes in. I get a crit, which didn't matter a whole lot. It was inconvenient for sure, but it wasn't a really big deal in the grand scheme of things. And I know that I can't stay in here, so I switch out to Hate, who takes the resisted Drain Punch and still takes almost a third. And now I'm going to make a mistake. I go for Psychic, completely forgetting that he had a Scrafty. So Aerobeam gets a free switch in here, and I know it's going to want to set up on me, so I switch back into Crack as Whack. And seeing that it has Dragon Dance means that it probably doesn't have Shed Skin, so if I paralyze it, I'm going to be able to cripple it. And that's what I decide to do. Even at +1, Crunch is going to do less than half, so I'll be able to U-turn out and still have a decent amount of health to come back in on something else later. And I go now into my Skarmory, since I can threaten to Brave Bird, but I'm going to take this opportunity just to get my rocks up, because he has a Gyarados and a Thunderous, so I definitely want to be able to hurt them as they continue to switch in. Predicting that Aerobeam's going to go into Thunderous now, so we can avoid the Rocks damage and threaten me with an electric attack. And on this turn, for whatever reason, I decide to leave Crow in. I don't know what I was thinking here. I guess I thought that he wasn't going to be useful for the rest of the match, but he definitely would have helped against Scrafty and Conkeldurr, so I'm not really sure what my thought process was there. Anyhow, I decide to sack him. I get a safe switch into Nike, and Conkeldurr comes back in for the second time. And I'm going to predict that and double switch out into Latios. And this time I know that I can't go for the Psychic, so I'm going to go for Dragon Pulse instead, knowing that I'll be able to hit anything on his team for neutral damage. And Scrafty comes back in, and he's almost going to get killed by this attack. Just barely lives, but since he's paralyzed, it doesn't pose any threat, and I'm able to get a clean 2-hit KO with a Dragon Pulse again. So now Thunderous comes back in. Since its base speed is 1 higher, he has 111 base speed. I know he's going to outspeed me, so I can't stay in. I predict the Hidden Power Ice, switch back into Nike, and absorb the attack, taking less than a quarter. And now I'm going to, again, not over-predict and just go for the Ice Beam. And Aerobeam decides that for whatever reason he's not going to try to save Thunderous. I guess he'd take too much damage coming into Stealth Rock again anyhow, so he fodders it out for a chance at a free switch. And I believe, Darmanitan comes back in now, or comes in for the first time rather, and I believe that I'm going to be able to live a Flare Blitz even though I don't have any defense investment. I have plenty of HP and it resists, so I do survive it pretty comfortably and am able to Earth Power and take out Darmanitan before it gets to do anything dangerous. So now I'm in a really good position, but I still need to deal with his Conkeldurr, his Latios, and I believe his Gyarados are the 3 remaining Pokemon he has. Conkeldurr comes back in, and he predicts my switch into Latios this time. He goes for Stone Edge, but it's not enough to kill me, meaning that he's probably not running any attack EVs. And now I'm not going to risk going for Psychic since I know he still has Latios. I'm going to go for Dragon Pulse again. And he does, in fact, switch in his Latios, so that was great. I get a clean Oko on it before it gets to attack. And Gyarados is going to come in next. So even though I know it can Dragon Dance, I'm going to stay in because a Dragon Pulse coming off of a Spexed Latios is going to do a lot of damage. It does fail to KO, but it does enough damage that I'll easily be able to revenge kill it later. So He gets a Dragon Dance up. Now he's going to outspeed me, and I'm not going to switch out. I'm just going to leave Hate in to fodder. And I believe on my free switch, I'm going to bring in Crack His Whack. Yes. Bring Whimsicott back in, and I'm going to encore his Waterfall since he's stuck in a resisted attack. I know that I won't take very much damage from it, and I'll be able to do whatever I want on this next turn. So now I'm going to predict him to switch back into Conkeldurr, and I believe I go for Stun Spore here. No, okay, U-turn. I know I go for Stun Spore at some point, but I guess it's a couple turns later. I U-turn out, and I'm going to bring in my own Thundurus and go for Thunderbolt, which will, of course, fail to kill since I suck at Thundurus. Again, Sinbad doesn't get a kill, doesn't get a sweep, comes in and attack once, and then dies. Because that's all I know how to do with him. So, anyhow, that was cool. He's dead now. And now I think I go back into Crack His Whack, because my plan at this point is to clean up with Lennon. And in order to do that, I need to ensure my ability to outstall his Conkeldurr, since it really does pose a pretty big threat to the rest of my team. So I want to make sure that it's slower than Lennon. I sacrifice Crack His Whack in order to get it paralyzed, and now I can bring in Lennon and start setting up bulk ups. And since he's paralyzed, eventually he's going to be fully paralyzed, and that's going to allow me to get ahead in the buff war if that's the route he wants to go. But instead he decides to go right for the attack, since his Guts ability already gives him +1. But faster, I can get a bulk up in, and now I can get a second one in, as I believe he realizes this isn't a good... Oh, he gets fully paralyzed here, so he's going to realize now that this isn't a good situation for him. He's on the losing end of this fight, and he's going to switch out into his Gyarados to try to get an Intimidate, but at this point it's really too late, because Gyarados is at extremely low health, and Conkeldurr is paralyzed and also not at full health. So I'm easily able to take Gyarados out. Conkeldurr is going to come back in, and after a couple of Drain Punches, I'm going to be able to take that down as well. So this is a good match, some pretty good predictions on both parts, and I'll definitely have a couple more battles coming your way with this team. Maybe only one more. I'm not sure. I'm thinking I might start working on my next team. So the next video in this series may be the finale for this team. We'll see how it goes. But in any case, stay tuned, guys. I'll have more videos coming your way shortly. Thanks.